What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Daily Energy News Beat Stand-Up here on this gorgeous Monday, February 13th, 2023. As always, I'm your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, coming to you from an undisclosed location here in Dallas, Texas, joined by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, EnergyNewsBeat.com, Stuart Turley. My man, how we doing today?
It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I mean, it is wonderful. I'm out there working in the yard, doing some burn barrel action and tearing things up.
Yeah, really doing your part to save the environment. So we really appreciate it. We actually are recording this Sunday afternoon, so this is before the Super Bowl has taken place. I'm sure as you guys listen to this, you'll understand the outcome. But first, Stu, who do you think's going to win today's game?
I got two answers for you. I am rooting for Kansas City.
Ugh.
Dude, hey, McCollum, he is from OU. He is a heck of a ball player. He got MVP. He is a little bit
Mahomes is from OU
or Texas.
He's from Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, excuse me. OU, Texas Tech. But
Yeah,
no,
same
he's
thing. Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's Texas Tech. I'm all in. But here's the thing. He's got a broken wheel. You know, he's going to be a little bit tough wheeling around out of the pocket. Then on the other quarterback is also not 100%. He's got a little bit of a shoulder issue. Now, he's not as good of a throwing person. So time will tell. I think it's going to be 27-24.
Okay, so you're going with Kansas City. Jalen Hurts is actually from OU, though, which is interesting. He played his last year at OU and was a starting quarterback. So I know you're an Oklahoma State fan, so I don't know what that means for you.
I like Oklahoma, but I'm going with Texas Tech, baby.
Okay, so you're going with Texas Tech. I'll probably take the Eagles just because I want them to win, so I always have to just bet with my heart, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City blows them out.
$1, and
Eagles.
Rights.
Yeah, Eagles, of course. I'm going Eagles. So luckily, though, we have a quick show for you guys today. Not much really happened over the weekend. It was kind of a chill weekend, but Stu still, as always, finds some banger shows. We would be remiss if we didn't start with the conspiracy. California's new solar rules must be ditched according to critics. We again ran that on Energy Newsbeat. Next story we have is debt crisis, energy security, and Nigeria's slippery road to net zero. Next, we will cover oil's rebound is more likely this year, $100 barrel possible, according to OPEC sources currently interviewing at Goldman Sachs. And finally, we've got Biden has been a significant cause of the global energy crisis. Talking points by our good friend Alex Epstein. We love him. We had the opportunity at the old regime to interview him. He's been on numerous podcasts thereafter, and I think he's one of the most clarion voices when it comes to human flourishing. He's got some talking points on Biden's State of the Union, which I didn't watch, so I will have to break down what all that is. Stu will kick it over to me. We'll cover a little bit what's going on in the markets. It was a quiet weekend. I thought it was interesting. CNX came out and announced proved reserves of 9.8 trillion TCF. So I thought we'd just slightly cover that, considering we just interviewed their CEO. Some really interesting stuff in that. But then we're going to let you get out of here, kick off your Monday. And for us, go eat some Buffalo ranch dip that's getting cooked in the kitchen right now, and we'll hopefully watch the Eagles win. But before we do that, guys, again, check us out, www.energynewsbeat.com, the best place for all your energy news. It's you can check out the description below. All of the links and all of the articles we talk about are from that website. You can also check out dashboard.energynewsbeat.com. It's our one-stop shop for all data and news. We are hard at work at V2 right now, making a little bit of a pivot, but it's going to be good. Enough of the pleasantries, though, Stu. Kick us off. Which story do you want to go with first?
Oh, I love me a good conspiracy.
Well, we know you do. We know you do.
But you know, my news feed is not set for conspiracy, but this actually came across as a conspiracy. The title is Conspiracy Illegal. California's new solar rules must be ditched, critics say. All right, Newsom's at it again. I got to applaud it. This is a total, the decision is part of a conspiracy to violate antitrust laws. One petition for do-over asserts. Let me get some quotes. We allege that the CPUC, which is the Gavin Newsom,
The California Public Utilities Commission.
right, and over the IOUs, investor-owned utilities, by affording the IOUs undue influence and control over the CPUC deliberations, decisions, and actions. Okay, let's go into this. The solar panels, this has gone into a little bit of when they have the power. The bottom line is, Michael, what they're changing is you get $100 off of your bill if you don't have batteries. And then they're going to go to $140 off of your bill if you put batteries on. Now, that means they're trying to get the pull off of the grid at night. Now, here's the problem. You don't get a tax break on those batteries. Now, you're losing money by going in and getting penalized by the people that don't have it, and they have to rely on power at night. But it's more harm to the to the environment because of the batteries, and more fires, and more. I mean, you just keep going through the checkbox and everything else out here, and they're shoving this down. The new rules, let's see, 136. It will be. The decision was hated by folks on all sides of the issue. It cements a $4 billion a year cost shift into non-solar backs for in perpetuity. I can't even say that. It's Sunday.
In perpetuity, but that's
you.
Okay. Well, you're an Oklahoma State grad, so it makes.
Hey, what can I say? Some said it will result in the destruction of the solar industry in California. Well, you got to hand it to Governor Newsom. He's going to destroy energy. He's
destroying all energy. You can't even have solar in California. You can't even have a solar panel in California without them taxing the crap out of it.
Exactly. I mean, old Governor Newsom, he's not, what do you call a solar panel racist?
Okay, what's next?
Okay, let's go to the debt crisis in Nigeria. Debt crisis, energy security, and Nigeria's slippery road to net zero. Michael, you know my passion for the disproportionately impacted communities and countries. Okay. Yep. I know you're tired of it and you're hitting your head against the microphone, but hear me out. I am tired of all of the big corporations going to Africa, going to Nigeria, taking their natural resources and leaving them with a bill and saying, oh, you need renewables, when we all know renewables are higher energy costs. This first paragraph, Nigeria, like many Africas, is at a crossroads. Although endowed with immense natural resources, energy access and security remain a primary concerns, even as the debate for energy transition creates more worries. With a debt of 77 trillion, Nigeria is looking to finance an energy transition and renewable energy roadmap of 33.2 trillion, while her wobbly fossil fuel dependent economy faces a bleak outlook. Okay, here's where I get really worked up. They have contracts where they are not getting top dollar for their natural gas and their services. I mean, their resources. So we haul it out, and then we come in, and there are countries around the world, China, Europe, and some of our companies will go in and say, okay, all right, I know this sounds like Putin. Hey, we're going to give you a deal. We'll finance your renewables at 100%, whatever the number is. And so we get their energy cheap, and then they turn around and get hosed in the drive-through. Africa is getting hosed in the drive-through. Anyway, thanks for letting me vent.
Yeah, and they just seem to have a lot of different projects in limbo. It seems like, you read further down in this article and you see that these that these immense projects. So you have to give an idea. There's these ExxonMobil, Chevron, BP, Total, Shell, and ConocoPhillips have already sold 27.5 billion in new assets, or have already sold assets that were worth 27.5 billion to invest in new regions. That was according to our friends over at Rystad. And then there's a host. They go on to list all the different projects that are still stuck in the planning phase or bogged down by legal hurdles. So you've got the Shell's Bonga West field, you've got Bonga North, NI's Zabadanza, Zadan, the Nikos field. I mean, you can't pronounce any of these, but Exxon's got a field. These projects are estimated, so they'd be spent about, if you could get these through, there'd be 100 billion in new capacity or in new spending, and the capacity to boost their production as high as 850,000 barrels a day, and revenues worth about 1.5 billion. But regulation, taxation through regulation, as you've always talked about, also mirrored in obscurity is there's a $20 billion brass LNG facility that could be extremely helpful, an offshore gas pipeline that's 5,000 kilometers between Nigeria and Morocco, which, it would cost an estimated 20 billion. So that's a lot. But there's all of these different projects that if you were able to roll this out, the whole issue of, they have so much of natural resources, but so few of their population has electricity. You could easily shift that with just increasing the amount of capacity that you export and having all of this revenue flow back to the state.
And natural gas. Natural gas is cheaper than this. Let me read this one section. Borrowing more to finance the energy transition. This is what I was talking about just a second ago. There is a global understanding that 2050 is moving target because the transition speed differs across the globe. For Nigeria, since transportation fuel is the biggest source of carbon emissions. Okay, this is bullhucky. Debt is unjustifiable unless it's for infrastructure development, for sustainable development. Hogwash. They're putting Africans into debt in order to get them in there.
Yep.
We got here by natural gas.
It's a crime. It's a crime.
It's terrible. All right. Let's move on to the next one here. Oil rebounds. You got to love this one. OPEC is in the driver's seat, and I think that the Saudi minister has an offer on his desk now to Goldman Sachs. I'm not sure if this is was it
OPEC's having dinner with Jeff Curry. He's Goldman Sachs head oil analyst. They're having dinner every night because clearly they're leaking something. Because, of course OPEC wants oil to be $100. So let's break this down. Here's the title of the article: Oil rebound more likely this year, $100 a barrel possible according to OPEC sources. Basically oil. It's a good Reuters article, so of course, take it with a grain of salt. Oil may resume its rally in 2023 as Chinese demand recovers after COVID curbs were scrapped and lack of investment limits growth in supply. OPEC country officials told Reuters with a growing number seeing possible return to $100 a barrel. But you have to remember, West Texas Intermediate is trading currently at $79. Brent's at 87. So, if you're talking about Brent oil price, you're probably talking about an $85 to $88 West Texas Intermediate price. So put that kind of into perspective, maybe a little higher. You're talking maybe 88 to 92. A move back to 100 for a prolonged period would earn even more revenue for OPEC members. It's like they write this like thinking they're like geniuses. It's like the person sat down to write this is like, oh, wait, $100 barrel of oil means OPEC will make more money. Well, like understatement of the century.
All right.
Whose economies mostly depend on oil income. It just gets worse. And a setback for industrialized economies trying to control inflation and interest rates. Well, whose fault is that? To support this market, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies include Russia, known as OPEC Plus, agreed to cut production by 2 million barrels a day, or about 2% of world demand. I bet you, if oil comes to $100, Stu, they will. You think they cut? So here's the real question. So, Do I buy any of this? No, I don't. Maybe. We'll see. I think if we don't see $100 in 2023, I'll make that stake bet with you. I don't think we see $100 for a sustain. Okay, we have to go sustained period here. Let's go for a
define
sustained 3-week
sustained
stretch.
period. Define
3 to
sustained period.
We'll go a 3-week stretch.
3-week stretch over 100.
Yeah, I will
I'll
take a
take it.
steak dinner.
Steak dinner. Here we go, baby. I
Okay.
think we're going to average for the year. Let's write this down. 85 to 90 for the year is what we're going to average. Okay. And here's why. And now
So, I'm loading this dinner up. I mean, I'm gonna
we're
buy
gonna
everything,
load
Stu.
this
You
bad
bet.
dog dinner, and you know what the cool thing is,
we better have a good year, Stu, because I'm gonna rack this tab up.
Okay, here's the thing: we've got 4 shot down aliens shot down this weekend. I mean, all it's gonna take is one alien outbreak. Not illegal alien over the border like you were talking about. No, this is an alien outbreak. This is not an alien coming over the wall. This is a alien out of space that they're going to blow them up, and they're going to sit there and go, "Hey, wait a minute. We've got us $100. We know Stu's going to go get a big steak. We're going to go ahead and do this."
Your analysis hinges on the fact that we're going to find aliens. That's what it's come to for $100 oil. That's what it's come to. People, listen to the words coming out of Stu's mouth. $100 oil is only possible when aliens show up. So if you're betting on $100 oil, you're basically saying aliens will show up. I mean, great. It's Independence Day then. I mean, oil's going to be $500 a barrel. I don't think,
yeah,
I'm going to be recruited into the middle. I'm going to end up getting drafted.
Oh yeah, but it's going to be me more. I'm going to be. Was it Randy Quaid or Randy Quaid or who was
Dennis
it?
Quaid, I think is his
Dennis
name.
Quaid. Yeah, I'm going to be. I'll be back.
All right, we got one more story. What's up?
Okay,
this one come kill us.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Biden had. This is from Alex Epstein. I love me some Alex Epstein. I got to talk to him last month. Biden has been a significant cause of the global energy crisis. Talking points on Biden's State of the Union, Alex Epstein. Before we go any further, you didn't watch the State of the Union, did you?
No, I figured probably not watching it, I'd learn more.
I didn't either. I went to the garage and hit my foot with a sledgehammer about 6 times. And I realized it would be less painful than watching that numbnut. Okay, here we go.
I wonder, tell me how you really feel.
Oh, I think he's a numbnut. I'd rather hit his numbnut with a sledge than my foot. Okay. I have documented extensively, had Biden and the other Democrats, there's a whole bunch here, but we're just going to pick a couple of them. Biden's role in the global energy crisis. In his State of the Union speech, Joe Biden portrayed the global energy crisis as a problem he was solving. In fact, it's a problem he has helped cause with anti-fuel policies and is making it worse with every new anti-fossil policy. Biden's sole explanation for the global energy crisis was, quote, Putin's war. But the root cause is global anti-fossil fuel policies supported by Biden, which made fossil fuel prices artificially high and pre-war prevented the free world from quickly increasing production to response. This is critical because Biden not only falsely kept prices down by stealing money out of the strategic reserve, it's going to bounce back by the falsely held numbers that are accusedly or allegedly out of the EPA to keep the numbers down. And then how about the falsely related numbers that did come out that they went, oops, sorry, we didn't have the jobs claim numbers right to make it look better. Okay, I'm getting even more worked up over this than over even Africa. To justify his past and present fossil fuel policies, Biden claimed with no evidence that there is a climate crisis and it's an existential threat. Whereas,
Yes.
where's the reality? There's a climate change, but thanks to increasing resilience, of a rapid decline in climate disaster deaths. You gotta be a chowderhead. I'm sorry. This is just a bunch of horse hooey. Anyway, I better stop because my blood pressure, my ear just shot off
Yeah.
across the
Our
room.
our firm doctor just emailed us and said Stu's had a spike in his blood pressure. The chip we got installed in you is freaking out right now. It's just going crazy. So when he says he's not chipped up, guys, he is. Trust me. Yeah, I mean, I saw the clips. I saw the oil and gas clips that came out of the State of the
we
Union.
need it for 10 more years. And then within 15 minutes after that,
Yeah, within 15 minutes was crushing us. So that's where I have zero sympathy for the quote unquote energy crisis that we're in. And I think, we're not necessarily in an energy crisis. I think we're more at an energy inflection point with the fact that there's really two ways we can go. And I think the war in Russia and some of the policies that we've had, both ending over the past 2 years, have crunched us into this. Well, I mean, people don't want to conveniently forget is that prices were already high before this old Russia-Ukraine invasion thing. Like, prices were already high. We were at like 75. Prices were rising above. We're headed on the way to 80 before the invasion of Russia. So I think, to think that it's all, Putin's price hike, that was always a good sleight of hand. It sounded good though. It sounded really nice. So, I mean, it's clear if you think this administration likes oil and gas, you're an idiot. So I think the thing what they're trying to do is manage expectations. They have to. I think they understand fundamentally that we can't just all of a sudden throw up solar panels and solve the issue. But I don't think they can necessarily come out and say that. So I think they're trying to play to both sides, and it doesn't. That doesn't help anybody. You know what I mean?
I'm going to pretend I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever his name was out of the Leave It to Cotter. I'm going to talk. You don't even know what that reference is to.
No, I don't. At least I know his name is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh no. Well, then that's like a lift. That's a whole different guy that I got to imitate. Yeah. I'll be back. That was better.
I'll be back.
Okay. Here's the thing, dude. We are facing two great awakenings. And I was talking to Ben Samuels a year ago, and I said, we're going to have a great awakening coming around the corner. I found the tape a little while ago. Okay. You have been beating me up about tapes. I was looking for that other quote. Okay. Here's the deal. We have two great awakenings happening right now. ESG. Last year, you and I had been covering ad nauseum. The whole ESG fundamentally has busted open, and people realize they can't make money on renewables. We saw this in the last 2 weeks with BP going rut-row.
Everybody's been saying that. Everyone's dumping ESG investing. It's proven to be, unfortunately, not profitable.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's like suddenly. So you're going to see the whole world come around. I think through this great awakening, you're going to see more investments. You're going to see natural gas go through the roof. This weekend, I read an article that Japan has now made it official. They're turning back on all of their nuclear programs. And so that is huge because it's going to be nuclear and natural gas are the only cheap forms right now of everything out there. So that great awakening is coming around.
Yeah, I'm getting back on coal. I'm going coal powered everything. Coal power generators, coal power cars, coal power stoves. It's we're gonna be backing up. We're gonna be backing up the Brinks trucks.
I think CNG cars, which is compressed natural gas cars, did not come by. But I had the interview with Nick from CNX, and he's got a new thing coming out. They're working on natural gas at the wellhead. Tell me that wouldn't be slick.
Well, not to jump ahead, but I think this is a good segue. Speaking of CNX and natural gas, they just announced $9.8 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserves. That's up 5%.
Wow. That's
So
great.
if they want to go that route, they've got a lot of it. And if we could figure it out, it would be interesting. But I think the thing with compressed natural gas is it's a little bit explosive. I think that's part of the reason, right? Like if you get smoked,
Well,
you know.
okay. What's worse? A self-driving Tesla that runs over babies, or a battery for an EV that just totally destroys apartment complexes, self-combusts while it's going down the road, and then burns up an entire town? Which is worse? There were no compressed natural gas disasters. So,
No, I'm with you. I think,
okay,
I
it's
think
the
we need to
hydrogen that scares me, because
You're right.
hydrogen leaks out. I'm a big hydrogen fan, but it is easier to escape than natural gas, and a
No,
hydrogen in a natural gas pipeline is explosive. Anyway, my 2 cents.
absolutely.
As Jeannie would say, it's all I got.
That's all you've got. Nothing really happened in the markets over the weekend, guys. Oil prices look to open down tonight. Hopefully, I think throughout this week, it seems like the bulls seem to be in control a little bit with demand seeming to outpace supply. So I wouldn't be necessarily shocked if we saw oil up $82-83 this week. But I do think eventually it's gonna cap out there. I think 85 for West Texas Intermediate is about as high as we get. And if that happens, yeah, you're probably at 95 Brent. Okay, maybe you do see $100. I don't know. I think a sustained move above 100 at this point, before we know a little bit more, it's a little bit crazy. Natural gas does look to open down a little bit, $2.58.
Wait a minute. What? Oh, I saw a balloon go by, man. It was a silver object. It was just flashing.
The aliens, guys.
Else.
It's the aliens.
There's F-35s coming in.
The sky's
behind
opening. Aliens are flying in.
We got aliens coming in. We're going to see $100 oil.
We better get out of here then, folks. So hopefully you guys stay safe. We appreciate you guys checking us out. We hope you have a good week. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. And we'll see you tomorrow.